What's up, everybody? Brett here, and I'm back today casting some more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer games. So, check it out, guys. I've got a lot to say this episode. I picked a pretty simple game. It's going to be me versus my buddy Triari. We had an excellent day yesterday, trying out different builds, just messing around, really. And he took what he considered to be a pretty serious meta build versus the Greenskins, and I took something that was just off the top of my head, which is how I really like to build my armies. I like to think about the matchup, think about the player I'm playing against, and then come up with something there that also fits my playstyle. So, not going to go over my build too much. It's a front line of cheap goblins with their silver shields. Their job is to take pistolier fire, crossbow fire, whatever the case may be, artillery fire, and to get blown up. My secondary line is a good mix of savage orcs mixed with savage orc biguns. So they've got the kind of the anti-large thing on lock, but also they're just going to chew through enemies. Low tier infantry, great swords even, they do decently against, right? And then I have a follow-up crew of squigs, Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, and my Lord is a Night Goblin War Boss on a squig, and their job is to find cracks in the front line once we engage, and to slip through and get into the ranged tools. And I also, when you're playing against any type of artillery faction, I got a giant. I got a giant mostly for fun. If I wanted to go even wider and more abusive with this build, I think I could have. But a giant for fun. He's going to give me terror causing. He's a giant damage sponge. And if they focus on him only a little bit, he's still in the fight. If they focus on him too much, then everything else gets into the back line and does what I want it to do. So Forest Goblin Spider Riders mixed with Goblin Wolf Riders. I've got two matching sets of that out on the flanks. So Marcus Wolfheart with 3 pistoliers in the front, attempting to skirmish me down, no doubt, and also attempting to snipe me out. So once I realized he had Marcus, I started to try and do some evasive maneuvers. But man, that amber bow shot did a good chunk of damage to me. Whenever you're on back of the squid, your missile resistance is not as high, but of course that's a magic missile, it doesn't quite count. But my HP is higher, so I'm just going to start trying to juke him, because I know that I'm about to be sniped out. So he's got a front line, he's got great swords mixed with Sigmar Sons, good front line. Spearmen on the flanks to try and prevent any type of, goblin shenanigans overrunning your back line. We've got archers, I like this a lot. Cheap archers to skirmish down goblin archers is what I would be doing with them. And then Knights of the Blazing Sun on the flanks, anti-infantry, very well armored. They do great versus the gobos. Grey Wizard in the back, he's got Penumbral Pendulum, that's going to be his AoE magic. And then the Black Lions, the Regiment of Renown, Hellblasters, these dudes are pretty sweet as well. So, to get further into what I was going to say, so check out my build, guys. I have no caster. Let's actually just let it go. We'll watch this one more so than me casting it. That way I can kind of have like a free, fluid thought to kind of talk about what I would like to talk about here. So, I was playing with a buddy, right? And I think a lot of you guys, if you're newer to Total War Warhammer 2, you get onto the ladder and you get discouraged because you're going to play against players perhaps that are better than you. You're going to play against players who like to cheese you and take builds that are really not fun to play against. You're going to play against players that will draw kite you into infinity. And your first impression of the meta or of the competitive scene is going to be just bad. And rightfully so, right? My advice to you is find a friend, right? If you're watching my video right now, you've already found me. I'm a friendly guy. Feel free to add me on Steam if you want. Feel free to join my Discord. Subscribe to the channel. No, but seriously though, find people who are fair-minded and fun-minded and have games with those people. So my buddy Triari and I, we always try to do experimental builds. Sometimes he has a meta build he wants to test. I basically never play the meta. We played about 4 games in a row where I just took builds off the top of my head, and we had a lot of fun that way. I think honestly if I took some of those builds onto the ladder, I would probably stomp a lot of people. And one of the things that makes this build off meta, guys, I don't have a caster. Right? I have all infantry except for, some really cheap... Well, I won't even say that. I don't have all infantry, but the biggest core of my army is infantry. I don't have any super fast movers, and I only have 1 monster, and no caster. So if I was on the ladder playing this build, one of my biggest problems would be, and this is what I would be concerned about, I completely have to change my build and the fun that I'm going to have, because I would be concerned about someone bringing 1 flying unit that can draw kite me. I don't have any missiles. I have no missile units. So if someone brought some Great Eagle or something like that, and I wasn't able to catch his, noble on a horse, then he could draw kite me to the end of the game. And that's what people do on the ladder. It's obnoxious. It's horrible. And maybe you can look at my build and say it's obnoxious, but I mean, I have a lord. I have multiple different types of infantry of all different classes, right? I've got a monster, and I've got light cav, I've got, you know, different types of things. I have anti-infantry, I have all, you know, all different types of stuff. I think my build is not abusive. People may disagree, though. I think intelligent people could disagree. But this is a fun build to me. And of all the other builds that I played that day with Tourney, that is yesterday, I took a lot of different builds. All different types. Sometimes elite. Sometimes I just try to make use of funky units, right? And that's just me having fun. But when someone tells you that your build is bad because you're playing off meta, don't listen to those people. They are really just... They're trying to enforce rules onto you, and that's not cool. This is a game. The game's meant to be fun. I watch a lot of tournament play from YouTubers who are much bigger than me. There are some people who are trying to define the tournament scene in different ways. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. I think some rules are there for a purpose, because these people that make the rules, they understand what's fun, and what's also fun from a viewer's perspective, right? No one wants to watch a tournament where people draw kite. I don't want to watch that. To me, if someone's trying to draw kite, you're just out. You lose, right? Get out of here, man. So sometimes the rules make sense. Now, CA, in their last patch, they kind of made rules for, you know, regiments of renown units and limiting certain numbers of units. And I think they're on to something. They're trying, right? And I can appreciate that. They're trying to take player feedback and see how to make the ladder perhaps more balanced. But there really needs to be a more rigorous reporting system. I think there needs to be perhaps some recognition of the real issues. There are things that you could put in place to make it so that people don't attempt to draw kite you. There's lots of things that could be done outside of limiting the use of units or limiting regiments of renown who, to be fair, they're balanced around the fact that they're stronger than normal units. They cost more gold, right? You'll see in this army here, I don't have a single regiment of renown. I went as cheap and as wide as possible because that was my strategy and that was the synergy that I went with. So, you're going to have a lot more fun. My broader point is that you're going to have a lot more fun if you ignore what people tell you you're supposed to do and you just do what you want to do. Of course, there's going to be people out there who are competitive. They see the ladder as an obstacle or as a game within the game, right? A way to justify their skill or to showcase their skill. And I totally understand that. You have to understand, though, that the ladder isn't perfect. That a guy who's number one in the ladder, of course he probably didn't get there being bad, but he may have gotten there through shady means. And don't let the fact that you're not number one dissuade you from playing the game. So, my advice is to find friends who like to experiment, hook up with those friends, and play the game you want to play it. Watch here, I was kind of getting sucked into my own battle here for a second. I saw that Night Goblin War Boss was getting blasted in the face by the lions. But you can see here, I've pretty much wrapped up this battle. Marcus is fleeing. We've got the Black Lions running away. This is such an overwhelming force. It's one of my favorite builds to do with the Greenskins. Not this particular build, but this style of play, this overwhelm and swarm. And it's hard to get away from Savage Orcs. They're actually quite fast. But anyway, guys, so in the future, in the near future, I would like to put together a tournament, a small tournament, maybe with a prize pool, something like a I'll buy you the next DLC, something like that, if you're interested. If you're listening right now and you are a subscriber and you'd like to enter, all you got to do is put your name in the comment section and add me on Steam. And as we get closer to the point where I'm ready to organize it well, and, you know, make a little list and kind of make some thumbnails and all the different YouTube stuff, really, that I've got to do to get that to happen, I would love for those of you who are like-minded and, you know, you want to have fun, I'm going to put very few limits on it. I'm going to sit down and think about some of the rules. I'm going to look at the rules that people have already kind of configured, and I'm going to come up with what I think is fair myself and what I think is not fair. And we're going to leave it pretty open and it'll be kind of experimental. And if anyone would like to enter, like I said, just say count me in, something like that, in the comment section if you're watching this, and then add me on Steam. Maybe send me a little message, say, hey, I'm this guy, and I would love to go on a list. And I'm going to write a physical list. I'm going to get my notepad out. I'm going to put you guys down, and then we'll link up on Discord one day when everyone can, or, you know, we'll draw it out over a few days, whatever's most convenient for people. And we'll come up with a fun tournament that is outside of what I think is kind of becoming a stale meta. There's so much that you can do in this game. I watch players who I consider to be as good as me or better, and I'm not a 10 out of 10, right, guys? I'm pretty good, but I'm good because I play everything and I understand matchups and I understand units, and I just have so much experience that I kind of want to share with people. Now, I'm not the guy to go to. If you want to watch a guy play that plays Dark Elves 9 games out of 10, that guy is going to be a better Dark Elf player than me, for sure, right? But I play every single race to a certain level that I think is pretty high quality, and I think I have insights to share on almost every race. So, if that's something that sounds interesting to you, watching a tournament from the perspective of ignoring the meta, and if you'd love to play in a tournament where the meta is just thrown out the window, then please consider joining in on the tournament. I'm looking probably for the first one. If this is going to be the first thing of many, I need to kind of understand how to organize it better. And, you know, this is going to be kind of experimental. I still want to give a prize, of course, something like that, some incentive to play. But if you're interested in that, just let me know. I would love to have you. And, yeah, for sure, you're the type of person that I want to play games with. So, without any further ado, guys, thank you so much for watching. This battle was pretty wild to play and very fun. And some of the other battles were also quite fun. I might show some of those from a more serious standpoint. But Triari's a good player. And for me to beat him with this wacky build I kind of thought up off the top of my head, it says a lot about the value of understanding matchups and understanding the value of units as crappy as a goblin, right? As terrible as a goblin wolf rider, right? Understanding that sometimes you got to throw away units to get value from other units. Sometimes you've got to let units get shot in the face so that your big boys can get through. These are all subtle tactics that when you play enough Total War, they're things that you learn and appreciate. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Once again, my name is Goodtalk Gaming. My real name is Brett, but this is where you can find me on Steam. I have a Discord channel with the link down below in the description. And feel free to introduce yourself. And yeah. All right, guys. Without any further ado, take care. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Later, y'all.